Welcome along to another one of our interviews with competitors for the upcoming 2025 Melbourne to Osaka yacht race. With me we've got Michael and Robert Bradley. Welcome along.
Hi.
Now Mike and Robert, they're competing on the boat Escapade, and I know Escapade well because we chased you in the 2013 race, and you took out the AMS, you took out the overall.
It was a very interesting race, having the rest of the fleet chase you down, and I think only two boats got past us in the last 24 hours. That's the nature of the staggered start. Adds a bit of interest to it.
You did that race with Joey Goff, yeah?
Correct. Yeah, Joey's still talk to Joey quite regularly and occasionally sail with him. The last time I did a sail with him, it was a fundraiser when we sailed around the Isle of Mull in November. And if you want cold, try sailing around the Isle of Mull in November.
Oh, this should be a bit warmer, as you know. Michael, how'd your dad talk you into this?
Well, I think I actually talked him into this, sort of, because he asked me if I wanted to do the last Melbourne Osaka event with him, but we were a little bit busy selling a house at the time, and I didn't quite feel confident in my abilities to be able to manage the boat in all conditions without bothering him. But I do feel a bit more confident now, so I asked him if he wanted to have another go at it this time around with me. And
Rob, you obviously said yes. You want to do it again?
I do. It's been long enough since the last one. I think, as I said to you the other day, it's a challenging event. Not the sort of thing you would usually want to do year on year, but I think we can manage it.
I think you can. You managed very well last time. So Escapade, it's done the boat, it's done the race before, so obviously just a bit of a hose down and you're ready to go again?
There's a little bit more to it than that, but it's currently in the yard, like about 50 metres away from us outside that window. The mast is ready to go back in. We pulled the mast out and changed, one of the bits of rigging was due for a change, and got the rigger to have a look at the rest of it, but it's all in pretty good condition. A couple of things looked like they were due for replacement, so we've replaced those. Pulled the rudder out to have a good look at that. Once again, it was faring quite well, but there's always a few things you can do while you've got it out, and I think we put a new bottom bush in it, that sort of thing.
I don't think people quite understand how much preparation goes into a race like this today.
Well, people keep asking me this, and I keep saying the hardest part of this entire race is getting to the start line.
It's a feeling of relief, isn't it, as you cross that start line?
The sailing bit's easy, touch wood.
Yeah, I don't know about easy, but so you were successful last time. What do you think was a reason for that success?
Listening to advice that we were given by previous competitors, and I can't put my finger on one piece of advice, but listening to it all, soaking it up, and then just a consistent approach to sailing to the conditions and getting the most out of them.
What about you, Michael? What was your personal preparation for the event?
Well, it's hard to say at the moment, because at the moment the focus is really just on getting the boat ready, because it's had a few things that we're doing major refits on at the moment, and then once it goes back in the water out of its trip in the yard, it'll really be all hands on deck, working out some preparation to sail it two-handed, because I know the boat is well set up to sail two-handed because it's done this race before, and I regularly get out and do a lot of sailing anyway, because I'm a sailing instructor for Hobson's Bay Yacht Club, so I just use that to keep my general skills sharp, and it sort of helps. Occasionally with students I'm doing 3 things at once, so I'm hoping that'll be good preparation for two-handed sailing.
What's the plans between now and the race in terms of on water?
Well, we're aiming for there's a coastal sprint, ORCV coastal sprint on the 23rd of November, and that'll, apart from doing the coastal sprint, we've also spoken to the appropriate race directors, and that will be our qualifying passage for the Melbourne to Hobart. And the Melbourne to Hobart, of course, is the qualifying passage for Melbourne to Osaka.
Yeah, the West Coast, it's a good shakedown, isn't it? It's multiple days. And
Still harbour, I call it a desire or an intention to do a warm-up passage, which would be a lap of Lord Howe Island.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I think that's probably the most challenging part of the race. Not the Bass Strait bit. Bass Strait bit done so many times, particularly post or during COVID when I was doing yacht deliveries. Quite comfortable with finding my way across Bass Strait and around Gabo Island, but that passage across the Tasman Sea is probably the most challenging part of the whole exercise.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion around, do you go inside or outside the current? Yeah, it's early days for you. You won't let on. Are you going inside, outside, or is it too early for that?
I can only say that I recall in the last race that about 10 days, no, probably about 10 days into the race, so we're like past New Caledonia, and Joey and I compared notes, and we realised that if either of us talked to each other about the conditions in the Tasman Sea, we would have turned around and gone home.
It was hard, wasn't it? It was like 3 or 4 days of 30 to 40.
We were down to sailing with just the number 4 and no main at one point, still doing 5.5, 6 knots, like straight into the teeth of it. And when I brought the pictures back and showed Michael, he said, it's hard to capture the size of waves on videos and photographs, isn't it? And I said, yes. And he said, those waves look big. And I said to Joey afterwards that this wasn't in the travel brochure. But
all right, so sailing-wise, you're right. Mentally, any tips mentally, Rob, for prepping, to Michael or others about prepping for the race mentally?
I got back from after 2013, and when I tried to find a word to describe the event, it was relentless. It wasn't hard, it wasn't challenging, it was just relentless. It's just day after day of keeping yourself focused and keeping yourself on the ball.
You feel like it'll never end, but so it's having that sense of, yep, I'm just going to get on and do my 3-hour shift and just worry about the next 3 hours.
We got to the point of counting it off in how many Melbourne to Hobarts to go. That's kind of a useful metric because it's about 12 Melbourne to Hobart, something like that.
I'm going to end with what's success going to look like. You've experienced success in literal terms with the race, being on the podium and receiving the trophy and whatnot. What about this race? What would success be for this race?
Well, obviously there's the fact that everyone that does the race is a winner in some right because it's just such a big sailing milestone. But obviously it'd be nice to see if I could fill the rather large shoes from the last time this boat did the event. But as I say, it's like getting to the start line, sailing a clean race, and getting there is success in its own right, I think.
I think that's well put because it's like a marathon. Getting to the finish is a massive effort.
Anybody that gets to Osaka, I think, is a winner. And I know in the race that you and I did together, I know there were 2 boats that weren't actually classified as finishers, but they still made it to Osaka. And I think they would have been happy with that as well.
And we were down the docks cheering them on, weren't we? It was just as exciting to see them come in as any other competitor.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, I wish you both well for the race. Good luck with the preparation. And thanks, everyone. Stay tuned for more interviews with more competitors coming up.